Hi guys in live, how you guys doing? So, sorry about this kinda, but it's just part of my rants I do. I'm on my God soapbox again. I'm not really sure what they mean by that. I guess that's when this person stands on a corner to talk, they stand on a box and makes them taller. I don't know. But I want to show that, at least up to a point, and to the reasoning that I'm going to show, that God is either limited in love or limited in power. Or God doesn't exist, which means God doesn't even exist. But if he does, he's not all powerful and he's not all loving at the same time. So either God doesn't exist and the Bible is a lie because God doesn't exist, or God exists but the Bible either is a lie because it says God is all powerful and all loving, or it's a implied lie because the Bible seems to imply that God is all knowing. I mean, is all powerful and all loving, which is false. The Bible says that God is all powerful and all and all loving, which is wrong, or it seems to imply that, which means it's implying something that's wrong. But either way, I don't. The Bible doesn't really pan out with some facts that are stated in the Bible itself, with a little logic. So there's God. He wants to create something. It turns out he creates us. Okay, there's a lot of problems with that because God's more complex than us. So where did God come from to create us in the first place? Where did God suddenly appear from? He's more complex than the universe or us. So something more complex had to exist before something less complex. So you're explaining the existence of something that's mildly complex by saying something very complex existed first, which doesn't really solve a lot. In fact, it makes more problems than answers or solutions. But if he's going to create us, why did he have to make us such that we only had conditional immortality? He made Adam and Eve immortal, but only under a condition. That's either because he can't create another unconditionally immortal being, which makes him not all powerful, or he's not loving enough to create another unconditionally immortal being, which proves he's not all loving. Something either made him not love us enough to make us unconditionally immortal, or he just wasn't able to create something unconditionally immortal. So which is it? Either way, God's not all loving and all powerful. Therefore, the Bible is either a lie because it says there's a God and there may not be a God, or it says that God is all loving and all powerful when in fact he is not. Both. If he were all loving and all powerful, he would have made us unconditionally immortal. He wouldn't have put some temptation in front of us, perpetually, by the way, such that even Pastor Joe Holden said that somebody would have eventually eaten that fruit. Pastor Joe Holden himself said that. He's admitting what I'm saying in a kind of a slight way. Somebody eventually was going to eat it, which would mean eventually death was going to come. God made the conditions for death in the creation itself. That's either not all powerful or not all loving. If I loved you, if I had infinite love and infinite power, I would create another God to enjoy my godness with. But God wasn't powerful enough to do that. Oh, I can't do that. I have to make the person limited in their immortality. Well, he's not all powerful. Or I could do that, but I don't want that guy might compete with me. I don't want to do it. I'm scared. I don't love that person enough. He didn't love us enough to make us unconditionally immortal. So he made us immortal with a really big condition. Of a condition that was eventually by all probability, was definitely going to be violated. Not only that, not is it probabilistically going to be violated, but if God knows the future, he knew they were going to violate it. So he knew death was going to come. He made the condition for death to come. He knew it was going to happen, or probability, we could have reasoned, probability speaking, we can even reason that it would have eventually happened by all probability. So therefore, death is either guaranteed or just about guaranteed. to come into existence, to this creation I make. So I'm going to make it anyway. I'm going to make this creation that I'm just begging to end up dying, so that they can experience that I can't experience, because I'm God, I'm immortal, I can't die. But I'm gonna create these beings that almost could not die, but they're gonna have to die anyway. That sound all loving or all powerful? At least one of those, no, if not both. He could have been not powerful or not loving enough to create us as unconditionally immortal. He could have had neither the power nor the love, but he lacked at least one of those two. Either he had lacked one or the other, or both. If he had both, he would have created us immortal without condition. The condition itself that he made caused all the crap that happened that's evil and bad and sick and disgusting in this world and in the Bible. It's all his fault. He made us, so we didn't make ourselves. So it's his fault we exist, not ours. It's his fault he gave us a condition for immortality, not ours. All we did is fall for the joke, the gag, the gig, whatever, and ate the fruit. That's all we fucking did. God did everything else. If man's guilty, he's guilty of having a snack. If God is guilty, he's guilty of everything else. All the evil in this world. And in fact, the universe, if God made the universe, he's responsible for everything, isn't he not? Doesn't say that the universe has God. It says the universe was made by God. So God made all this shit. As great as it is, but he made death too. He set us up. It was a setup. All we did was take the bait. God was the fisherman in this case. We just took the bait, and now we're dead fish. Simple. That God would, an all loving and all powerful God would not have done that. He would have found a way to make us immortal without condition. He either can't do that or won't. If he can't, he's not all powerful. If he won't, he's not all loving. So, see if I'm done with my rant here. I'm not sure if there's anything else I haven't pointed out yet. Let me take a pause here. Anyway, a different subject for now. I've got music coming up, and can't wait to do it for you. And I'm really excited about my new alternate picking technique with the Paul Gilbert thing. It's a very cool thing, and Paul started that. So love to PG. Love you guys, peace, love, and all.